And we are live. Alrighty. Hey, everybody. I'm Rob the Builder. Can we build it? Yes, we can. How you doing, David? How you doing, Bassman? All right. Well, this morning we're hitting our P-51D with interior green. That will be our first thing to do. We may see how we travel for getting other shit done. Yes, we might. These are the things. But at the end of the day, Rob. Oh, for fuck's sake. I'm actually going to leave the camera there so you can see how dumb what I've just done is. Well, it's not dumb, but it's like, really, big boy? Desk being here. And, not quite walking yet. Should have grabbed a walking stick, but never mind. I took the kit outside, covered with surfacer. Very sensibly, I've left them away from the desk. Bloody idiot. Brain of a duck, you know. I ask you. Now, something I might do with this, I'm actually kind of curious to check out a couple of details. Excuse me a moment. Spin around. Spinning right round. Ooh, almost fell into. Now, who did that one? The spinning around. Right round, baby, right round. I can hear parts of it in my mind's ear, for want of a better choice of words. Dead or alive? Oh, Rob, don't inflict it on people. Now we'll just still haven't tight. Now, something I am considering, good people. Losing track, actually. Look at this, haven't you? Here's half the problem, people. Lack of coffee. Yeah. Now, what I am considering, getting back to the point, if you look here at the P-51B, where's the floor for this one? That's it. It would be in the fuselage, wouldn't it? Which is where I pulled that apart, I did. But here is the part that I'm looking for. Here's the part that I'm looking for. Now, what I'm thinking is that painting pattern being as interior green, zinc chromate, so forth. Do they supply us with a bottle in this one? No. But ultimately, if we can replicate the colouring of the, let me just get them next to each other. Come here, you bloody thing. There we go. Now, if I zoom, it's going to be at a bit of an angle, but right. So you can see the floors are fundamentally identical. So this poses the question in my eyes as to, so why wouldn't I paint them identical using that as a template? I'm curious to find out, just for my own edification along the way. Supper time. Now, here's a question on the topic of supper, good man, my good man. And it is this. Now, when you say supper, I take it you're meaning meaning what some people might call dinner. Now, I'm more of a tea. I call it tea myself. Well, let's have tea. Here we go. Here's the bit up thing I'm looking for. Although I have taken to calling it dins. And I got that from my martial arts instructor. Excuse me a moment. Okay, so yeah, okay. Anyway, point being, now let's see what colours they recommend. Yeah, they recommend a they recommend 40. I think 43 is their colour thing, being wood brown. How interesting. I am making assumptions about what they. Interesting. All right, what's 33? Flat black. Just seeing what colours they're recommending, as opposed to 54. Green. Their options are very different to... Now, something that's particularly interesting here is they have... Now, 54 is... They've got khaki green. Now, they don't... What they don't have listed here is an interior green or a zinc chromate. Oh, they do have zinc chromate, 351. This could be an interesting little discovery. I see. Or, okay, 54 or 351. Okay. Let's see where else they have zinc chromate listed. This could be very interesting. Yeah, their overall paint setup seems to be a little more simplistic than what I would probably want to roll with. That being so, that's what you refer to. I forgot to tell you the tale of, yes, my instructor. He was Chinese, and his English was not so flash, to be honest. But he tried, and his English was a damn sight better than my Chinese, I'll tell you that much. Anyway, and because, I guess because of the English influence in Hong Kong, because he went through Hong Kong from his way from mainland China to Australia, he knew that dinner was the, which he transferred to as din-dins. When I was living there at the Martial Arts Academy, it'd be, it's time for din-dins. And I picked that one up a bit. Din-dins. Ideally said in that slightly Chinese sort of a tone. All right. Now, because that's a slightly more simple paint job, what I'm going to do, executive, is I'm probably going to use this as our template. Which then, now there's one thing else I would like to check on this actually. It's more to do with seat height. What I'm trying to calculate here is, actually there's another way I can do this more efficiently. How high this is, given that I'm using the seat out of the Armour hobby in comparison to the height of that. I may need to do a bit of jiggery-pokery on that before we get started on our painting. Yeah, look, people pick up different terms for different reasons. Now, as I said, when you hear me talk about dinner, these days I'll generally say, I'm not quite sure where I got tea from, but I do that one a lot. The other option that you'll hear me trot out, as I just relayed to you, dins. And I won't deny I amuse myself with that because I know where I get it from. I'll just put that up there for the moment while we make this calculation. This is the, I guess, downside of Frankenstein modeling. Now that is the height of the, there we go, there we go. Now that's the height of the armor hobby. Let's see how that rolls. Look, give me a moment. When I paint this, I'll slap it on a, whatchamacallit. I don't know whatchamacallit. That's what I'll slap it on. On a plinth. Give it a quick file just for good measure. A mate of mine, who's getting back to the dinner thing, who's Malaysian. What is that? Well, he was raised over here in Australia. His family's from Malaysia. He paid me out for calling it tea. It's dinner. So some people get very particular about these things. It's funny. But in different parts of the world, and I believe in different... In fact, David, you'd possibly be able to confirm this. I believe depending on what part of the UK you're in, depends on whether you're eating dinner or supper. I do know that the term custard, according to Kenny Everett now, yeah, hang on. So there. Well, that's a bit convenient. It's not much in that. We can just let that roll. That's a bit good. Now, but yeah, I know that where in some parts of the UK it's called custard. I could suggest that this is what I would be. I've been raised on with my family being from the southeastern parts of England. I believe at a certain point it becomes cream. And according to Kenny Everett, for those who are unfamiliar with Kenny Everett, he was a DJ back in the days of what the UK was referred to in the UK as, excuse me while I find the page we require, pirate radio, which is back in the 60s, I believe it was, in the early days of pop music. It was difficult for music to get airplay because, of course, the entire thing was controlled by the BBC. Synchromate. Let me guess. British green. Olive drab. Interior green. See, this is where having done that really has paid dividends in that circumstance. Now, which black do I want for the interior if I'm going to do one? Probably chassis black, which is already out, I think. Oh, no, that's jet black. So, yeah, anyway. And Kenny Everett himself, when I first encountered him, all I knew him to be was a guy who ran a little thing called the Kenny Everett Video Show, where he had various funny people on, did very funny stuff himself. Yeah, right. And anyway, he now I would suggest the black that I seek is in the other container. Anyway, and the thing that made Kenny, or probably brought Kenny Everett, he was on what's called pirate radio. What a lot of people ended up doing was they basically went offshore on these not quite sure how big the ships, they would have to have been ships, I think. However they did it, they went outside the 5-mile limit of the UK and then broadcast in. And because they were in international waters, it was called pirate radio. Brilliant idea. And it sort of, one of the DJs in question and someone who became quite prominent because of pirate radio was Kenny Everett. I believe he helped break a number of big name acts into the studio, but just bumped on, for God's sake, Rob, move the camera back. Brought a number of big name acts to prominence. I think Queen may have been one of them. Anyway, I'm getting somewhere. It relates to the whole tea dinner thing here. I'm getting there, trust me. In this tale that is quite irrelevant to modelling. Anyway, because of this, he eventually had the Kenny Everett video show, which was great, and I found a lot of stuff in there that was hilarious. Chassis black, boom. So there's our 4 colours of what we're looking for our painting. Anyway, and he did a book, which I read, and the book is called The Custard Stops at Hatfield. And this is how I know, good people, that the term custard goes to a certain point in certainly England, maybe I don't know. But once it hits Hatfield, it becomes cream. This is how I know these things. Excuse me a moment. I almost would appear to have misplaced 2 rather important parts of our kit. We'll pop them up there. Now, here's a question while I'm here. What colour are they meant to be? 33, which is black. Now that's interesting. As a quick little aside, they list 33 as our flat black. Bobby Rob knows that 33 is the flat black of Humbrol. And I wonder if that's why they've used that number. Here we go. They've got one of for Mr. Colour. Okay, it's got, it looks possibly. Anyway, doesn't really matter. Doesn't really matter, guys. No, it doesn't. Now, which colour do I want to start with? I probably want to see about getting as much done as possible in one fell swoop. So, based on this, now around the back there we have. So if I do, and we also, of course, want to get, give me a moment. Where have I put? Oh, of course, your Wally. Yeah, Wally, they're in here. Here's 2 parts that we require. Okay, well, we can do interior green and zinc chromate, I would suggest. Now, I'm going to do zinc chromate because then tomorrow we can hit the chassis black, which would be just a little bit, and then boom, shakalaka, like a wop bamboo. We can also put a bit of zinc chromate, love, into, here they are, these, because they will have some zinc chromate on them. So this we will also do. So our colours for today. And what's more, here. Now, there's a lot of zinc chromate to do, actually. Yeah, it's a good colour to do. That now interior green. All right. There's our plan for today. Pop them over to there for the time being. All righty. Ooh. Cream crackered. Very good. Yes. The old rhyming slang. It also, I find rhyming kind of funny when you look at stuff like limericks as well. I only know a couple of limericks from I was going to say book of Bawdy limericks, but aren't most of them. There's hell with it. It's my stream. I can be a little lewd if I want, so I'm going to be. The two I know, there once was a lady from Arden who sucked off a man in the garden. He said, "Pardon me, Flo, but where does it go?" And she replied, "Beg your pardon?" Yeah, as I said, not for polite company. Sorry, guys. Hope you, unless you assumed you were polite company. Well, I've just shattered some images, haven't I? The other is, the following limerick comes with warnings. It may involve triggering references for some people. From deep in the crypts of St. Giles came a scream that echoed for miles. Said the vicar, "Good gracious, has Father Ignatius forgotten the bishop has piles?" Yeah. I had a book of them, and I remember those too. And yeah. But I do remember there being another one. Somebody might even be able to give us a bit of a hand with this one. Let's see how we go. It was something about there being there once was a man from Maracas who blew off both of his knackers. And there's something about the charges going down each leg, basically, and blowing his balls off. Now let's get these mixed. Oof, look at that. Look at that pigment. Oh, that's got to go into. Yeah, on the topic of my second limerick, I have a bit of a habit of dropping into trotting out the line, as the bishop said to the choir boy, or as the choir boy said to the bishop on occasion. Then one day a mate of mine said, "Now, you do realise that if you do that long enough and often enough, sooner or later, you're going to encounter somebody who's actually had that experience." And I thought, the man does have a case there. So I've, I do try to show a bit of, what's the word I'm looking for? Decorum on occasion. No, I don't. God, I'm a liar. I've got no bloody decorum. Who the hell am I kidding? Now, almost there. As I'm sure those of you who watch me regularly will be aware, I don't like partially mixing. I like to get this job done properly, because of course it's going to affect things if you don't. Now, we're almost there. Dearie me. Wait, time for me to do my... actually, most of you guys wouldn't be familiar with who Gough Whitlam was. Gough Whitlam was an Australian Prime Minister from the 70s. In my opinion, and I'm not alone in this, arguably, because he got screwed over by the machinations of various things, but he did a lot of good stuff, and had he been not, or had the system not been manipulated It was quite a constitutional crisis. I studied it at uni. He could have become one of the truly great prime ministers of our country. Did a lot of good stuff in, 1.5 terms. Anyway, and his most famous line, as far as it goes, let's face it, most polys have something that is you would impersonate about them. And in his case, the line is, I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Now, in this instance, I'm talking about my paints, but when all said and done, I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I don't like my paints half mixed. Don't mind me, I'm a silly bugger at times. Now, this is our interior green we're using. Okay. We're starting off with this. Here we go. Now, all right, we'll get a nice suitable brush for the occasion. Excuse me. Now, let's have a quick look. Something else I can use as a template. Okay, I'm thinking about using some of the decals out of the kit to add a bit of life, because there is an almost identical set, so I may as well, you know what I'm saying? All right, looking at this, and the corresponding side being, we'll get those out of the way for the moment because I don't need them. And we'll go right. There are a couple of spots I can maybe get a little bit jiggy with. Alrighty. Bing. Bing. Bring you guys in a bit. What we'll do is we'll get a fairly crisp one to begin with and go around. Wow, even now, after all that shaking, the paint will try and break up a bit on you. I ask you, where's the love? Where is the love? I should probably get my goggles on. All right, down we go. Aha. Maybe into there. All right, there. All right. Oh dear. And then we'll come around here. We'll come around here some more. Oh. Hey, there's a bit there. Come up and around. Then we'll come up here. I'm just mixing this paint a bit more. It's Being a bit trying to sort out what the correct adjective is. All right. Now, you're going to come around there. And all I really need to do with this is to bring up the small stuff, and then I can just get a big brush into play. Which is pretty much what's going to happen. Now, we come into there. A little clumsy there, that's okay. Now, we'll come into there. Into there. Well, I probably don't really need to go, but you know, it's just the way I roll. Now, what'll be happening tomorrow is we're going to be adding a little bit here and there to this while we do our. The idea is going to be that we do our there we go. Excuse me a moment. By laying down the interior green, we can then look at. Excuse me a moment. Hang on. We can look at adding a few colours to this, putting on some decals, adding this and that. But first, we've got to get this shit done. Base colours are your first port of call. All right. Once I've gotten a couple more bits done on this and then head out with the big brush, I will give you a zoom in. There's not much on this to work with detail-wise, but that's also why we're putting in the... there's a thing that looks like it could be meant to be a representation of the mask and stuff, but that's okay because we here we go. That's why we're like I said, it's not much detail, but that's why I'm using some of the decals that we had available. Putting the mask thing on. This thing that could be a mask, we will turn into a wire or something. or something, yes. Now, all right, now what I might do before I zoom in is actually do exactly the same process with this brush on the other side. Then I can get the bigger brush in, boom, 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 and then I'll zoom in. Now there's a bit here we can work with, but not much. All right, let's do this. Because that'll probably still want to be green. Sorry guys, I'm just talking to myself a bit there. Making a bit of a decision here and there. Dealing. All right. Now, we will come across here. Maybe leave that. And where does the interior green go on the floor, I wonder? Ah, I see, said the blind man. Beyond this front area, there's not actually much interior green. The rest is mostly zinc chromate. Mostly. There we go. We're starting to get some detail coming together. Into there a bit. Around there. All right. And finally, nope. As far as with this brush anyway, on this side, we'll go. Almost there. There we go. Now, next, you know what? I'm very quickly just going to go into there. Across there. And into. All right. There we go. And, you know, I lied very quickly. Where's that template? Is there a bottle in there that we can use? No. Okay. Oof. It's going to be very tight. Okay. Because the floor of this needs to be interior green. And there's not much of that. Floor, that is. However, we all know the rules. I'm going to do it. I'm going to paint it. If it is there to be painted, I shall paint it. All right. Almost there. Almost there, at least with this brush, and then I'll give you once I clean the brush, I will give you a zoom in as to what we've gotten done, and then it's just some big stuff. It's not really that hard to what's the word I'm looking for? What is the word I'm looking for? There's a word. Now. There we go into there. Now there is actually a bit more interior green on this I need to do. I now remember. And once I've got it done, I'll show you why. In fact, no. What I might do, once I've gotten this chair area done, I'm going to give you a zoom in on something up top here. And then I'll do that. Because I've just noticed something rather cool. Yes, I have. Now, because one of the things that the P-51B had was that was black, as were these, but the frame that carried the batteries and power packs and stuff was interior green. Now, as luck would have it, Hasegawa have at least printed the frames on. So what I'm going to do, I'll give you a quick zoom in here. Give me a moment. I'm going to put behind our, that'll do, it's a bit small, whatever. Give me a moment. Now if I'm up there. All right. Now hopefully you can see that there's actually a bracket underneath those battery parts. My mission, and I choose to accept it, is to paint that bracket. So, zoom down I have, good. Now, so, across there. Yep. And up into there. Right. Then there's there. I'm also then going to have to come from this angle on the side to really nail it. There. There. All right, yeah, that's actually going to come up really well. I'm looking forward to giving you a zoom in on how that'll roll once I've got everything done on that, because I can certainly see how it's going to work for us. I'm pretty chipper about that. Now, actually, Hasegawa have done a very good job with regards. Oops, that's a little clumsy of me, but that's okay. I can fix that with a bit of black. To how they have facilitated, they've actually printed really good detail that can enable some really nice detailing if you want to do that. Now, of course, I do, because that's the way I roll. But the mere fact that it's there to do makes it all happen. Now, we're getting there, guys. Right, yep. Yep. Now, very carefully into there. Oops, a little clumsy. That's okay. All right. there, and there, and almost there, guys. Now, some of this has hit areas that I want to keep black, but of course black will nail the green, so hey, concern is not there. Or at least it's there less. All right. Yeah, that's going to work. It's going to work real well. There's a few spots to tidy. Well, only actually one couple of spots to tidy up, but that's fine. Now I'm going to clean this brush and then I'll give you a zoom in. Where is this my one? No, it's not. Where's the other one? Where is it? Aha. Now, for the rest of this, I can probably take my goggles off. Or at least for the rest of the interior grain. All right, clean that. Gogs off. Now, lid on. So what I've done there is move you in. Right. So you can see there's a bracket. I've got a bit clumsy on that side. But you can see there's the bracket on the base of these. So when we paint those and all the rest of that, it'll sort of give it a bit of a contrast and a highlight. That's the plan. Now, next, we'll get a decent sized brush. Probably this one, I would suggest. That will zoom you out. We'll just tidy up the last of the interior green. This is starting to congeal a bit. Whenever I hear the word congeal, well, not whenever, but sometimes I am reminded of the Monty Python song, Decomposing Composers. Now, what's the relevant verse? Handel and Haydn and Rachmaninoff enjoyed a nice drink with their meal. But nowadays no one will serve them, and their gravy is left to congeal. Verdi and Wagner delighted the crowd with their highly original sound. The pianos they played are still working, but they're both 6 feet underground. They're decomposing composers. There's less of them every year. You can say what you like to Debussy, but there's not much of him left to hear. Now, a bit more down here. Delete. Yeah. Now that's where the floor is going to go. So once I get beneath there, I don't need to go any further. Well, the whole lot from beginning to end. Okay, hang on a moment. It's been a while since I did the whole thing. Now, just trying to get the. It starts off with him or the vocalist, who would be not quite sure who does the singing in this one, but sounds potentially like Palin. But anyway, now how does he start off? He starts about something about Debussy. I can hear the tune. Dun, dun, dun. It's based on Bechel's Canon. Wait. Now, Elga doesn't come to the door. Not quite remembering the opening lyric. Now. Once I remember that, I'll be off. Yeah, at the moment I can do you the Galaxy song and the Money song. All right, so there's one side of our interior. I should probably take that a little lower. No, I shouldn't. Being pedantic. No, can't remember it. I can do, like I said, I can do you the Money song. I can do you the Galaxy song, which I actually really, really like. And in fact, both of those songs have a bit of a special place for me because when I was working with a lad with cerebral palsy, we used to take him on. He used to have to actually put walking for him was a challenge. It really was. He was completely unable to walk without a frame, like a really heavy frame, and it was an exercise for the guy that we did every day. And he used to like me to sing. Apparently it distracted him from the actual physical discomfort he was in through the process of walking. And when he first asked me to, the only songs I really knew, well, it's not entirely true, as you'll hear. I thought, well, what do I sing? I thought, I can hardly trot out some of my finest Ozzy Osbourne, particularly as one of them is a song called Mr. Tinker Train. And if the title is disturbing, you should hear the lyrics. A whole lot of love. Yeah, I was at a high school singing "Gonna Give You Every Inch of My Love" is probably not cutting the mustard. And the only songs that I could think to sing that did not have pretty savage lyrics in some capacity were the Money song and the Galaxy song from Monty Python. So I sang them. And he loved them. He thought they were the best things ever. All right then. Here we go. You've asked for this, Bassman. You've brought it on everyone. Anybody? Hassle Bassman. Don't hassle me. I've got 90,000 pounds in my pajamas. I've got 40,000 Swiss francs in my fridge. I've got lots of lovely lira now, the Deutsche Mark's getting dearer, and my dollar bills could buy the Brooklyn Bridge. There is nothing quite as wonderful as money. There is nothing quite as beautiful as cash. Some people say it's folly, but I'd rather have the lolly. With money you can make a splash. There is nothing quite as wonderful as money, money, money. There is nothing like a newly minted pound. For everyone must hanker for the butchness of a banker. It's accountancy that makes the world go round, round, round. You can keep your Marxist ways, for it's only cash that pays. For it's money, money, money makes the world go round. Money. That's it. Beethoven's gone, but his music lives on. And Mozart don't go shopping no more. You'll never meet Liszt or Brahms again, and Elgar doesn't answer the door. Schubert and Chopin used to chuckle and laugh whilst composing a long symphony. But 150 years later, there's very little of them left to see. They're decomposing composers, there's less of them every year. You can still hear Beethoven. No. Oh, I got it wrong. But yeah. And then there's the what is it? That's it. Whenever life gets you down, Mrs. Brown, and things seem hard or tough, and people are stupid, obnoxious or daft, and you feel that you've had quite enough, just remember that the planet is evolving and revolving, revolving at 900 miles an hour. It's orbiting at 19 miles a second, so it's reckoned, a sun that is the source of all our power. The sun and you and me and all the stars that you can see are moving at 1,000,000 miles a day in an outer spiral around at 40,000 miles an hour in a galaxy we call the Milky Way. Dee, 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 boom, boom. The galaxy itself contains 100 million stars. It's 100,000 light years side to side. It bulges in the middle, 16,000 light years thick, but out by us it's just 300,000 light years wide. Something like that. 30,000 light years wide. We're 30,000 light years from galactic central point. We go round every 200 million years. And our galaxy is only one of millions and billions of this amazing expanding universe. The universe itself keeps on expanding and expanding in all of the directions it can whiz. As fast as it can go, the speed of light, 12 million miles a minute, and that's the fastest speed there is. So remember when you're feeling very small and insecure, how amazingly unlikely is your birth. And pray that there's intelligent life somewhere out in space, because there's bugger all down here on Earth. Yeah. I'll stop there. There we go. All right. Oh, a little touch there, just for good measure. Oh, are you serious? That's unreal. That's just, oh, hang on. I'll just probably zoom out a little bit there. That's just, I mean, for starters, it's a song for comedic purposes. Hobby needed, you know? Although Python are actually remarkably accurate with a lot of what they do. As are many comedians on occasion, I would suggest. Now, that's that colour done. Jolly good stuff, I say. Now, that took an hour. Tomorrow we might be doing the zinc chromate. Oh, we can get some done now. What the hell? Let me lazy up. But yeah, so be aware, Bassman. You brought that on yourself, man. You brought that on yourself. On one occasion at the, I was taking him for a walk, and I tried to. I'd put a bit of time. I'd spent just sort of like gone the night before and went through I Like Chinese. They only come up to your knees. Yeah. And I was about to sing it, and I thought better of it because, of course, what flew back in the day when that song first came out and what flies these days are two very separate issues. And as I was employed as an educator, I thought better of it. Although I did have an amusing, and some would suggest there was an inappropriate use of language with one of my co-workers, and indeed the lad I was working with, because the lad I was working with is from Nepal, and there was one of my co-workers. He was a relieving SSO, school support officer, and he was Indian. They could actually speak. Not sure if it was Hindi, but certainly something with each other. Anyway, and when I used to give Anal, that's the lad I used to work with, his lunch, because you had to break it down for him. He would often want to you'd have questions about other countries. He was curious about other countries. He really was. He had a very inquiring mind for someone who actually was pretty savagely knocked around on an intellectual basis by his medical condition. Be that as it may, and he'd ask about other countries. And he was asking about Germany one day for some reason. Can't remember what it was. And whenever he asked about a country, he'd ask about what the population was like as far as what colour they were. And I told him the Germans were European. He said, "Oh, what colour?" I mean, they're whiteys like me. Now, I should not have said whiteys. I had brought that on myself because he's thought that sort of hilarious term, whiteys. Yeah. Anyway, it became a bit of a quiet little joke between me, him, and the co-worker whose name actually escapes me, to be honest. Where they'd call me Whitey and I'd call them curry munchers. And it was like, we knew it was not okay as far as you wouldn't do it in front of people, generally. Now, come to a story there, as you can gather. Anyway, one day it was just the three of us in the classroom with a teacher who I knew was also not beyond a bit of political incorrectness as far as conversations went. And they paid me out, quietly calling me Whitey. I'll finish it with Whitey. And I've just looked and said, yeah, why don't you boys just go munch some curry? And that's all the teachers heard. And I've had to go and explain to them, yeah, look, they call me Whitey. I call them curry munchers. Not all the time, and not, it's just how it is. And he's just looked at me and said, you're all wrong. All three of you are wrong. He didn't stop us. He said, all three of you are wrong. He was also, could see that we knew not to do it at the wrong time and place. It was funny. So, yeah. Now, whilst this isn't on the interior of the there's not that much zinc chromate on the interior of the cockpit area. It's mostly going to be done in the front wheel well. That's where the time's going to go into that. What I'll do, wouldn't mind just getting these done. It's much harder without goggles. I could consider putting them on. Why would I do that? There we go. Well, that actually gives you already, even without the application of the aluminium, a good idea as to how that's going to look. On that one. Once I've done the edge of that one, I'll give you a zoom in on those. Then we can do the other side. Then we can do the tail area there, which is going to be the main area where that's going to apply on those two fuselage halves. And I also want to do a little area in the floor there with this. So, yeah. I'll get back to that story I was telling you about Whitey. The only time it became an issue was sometimes when we went swimming and went outside of the school. He was quite an exuberant lad. He really was. But sometimes he'd trot it out, as in Whitey, when we're on our way to the bus stop and be like, Jesus, no, not now, mate. What do you do? And he'd be addressing somebody and they'd know, like somebody he knew. And it'd be okay. But, hey, Whitey, what have I done? What have I done? You know, that's all I could think at times. He's a nice lad, though. Almost there on those. Oh, actually, done. All right, I'll give you a quick zoom in on them. Where is there is? So you can sort of see how they're going to come up. Still need to put the aluminium on them. But yeah, got it around the edges, the zinc chromate that is. So away we go. Now, next, we can pop that up to there. I'm going to very quickly do these. Now, the main wheel wells I will probably do tomorrow. They're a very big job. So yeah. There we go. Now some of this, I've done this without goggles, so I can tell you right now there's going to be some touch-ups in aluminium on this. Oops, I haven't zoomed out. Actually, I haven't done too badly on that, I don't think. And into there. There we go. And this one. Delay. There we go, through there. All right. And I need to get my goggles on. Just the bloody files off there. If they've got tooth there, that's okay. I should stop kidding myself that I can see. All right. We're going to go a bit more into here. Now, and then along there. Now, there we go. Delete. All right. Now, just do the bottom of that one, then those three sides, and then that'll be them prepped up. Well, not prepped up, but ready to go. Oops, a little bit there. We'll tidy that up. There we go. There we go. There, and then we just go around there. And that one is largely done. Well, in fact, well, notwithstanding again aluminium. Well, that's better. A bit stronger there now. Yeah. That's better. Now we'll come back down here. A bit more into there. There we go. And do I need to do? No, I do not. Now, give me a moment. We're going to zoom in. So that's just our wheel stems again. We need to put the aluminium on, but we're getting there. We've got the interior green, not the interior green, the zinc chromate on. Now, floor, come here. There we go, almost there on that one. I don't think you can see what I'm doing at the moment. I'm just trying to get into here a bit. There we go. There we are. Now that is, I'm doing it that way because that's how I've seen it on the P-51B, and I'm assuming that it would have been very much the same on the Mustang or the P-51D. Now, getting there. Next, this area down here. I'll just pop that up to there. I've also just noticed a spot of interior green that I should do before tomorrow, but I probably won't bother doing it on the stream because it'll take me about 30 seconds. But I'll need to reshake and remix and yada yada yada. I'll just do it a bit later today so that it doesn't slow us down any on the overall scheme of things. Now, once I've gotten this on at this end, I will want to take the zinc frame rate a little higher, just for my own satisfaction. I assume you guys had that dance track over in your neck of the woods. Ruch mich und dann schieb meine einfach. All right, we are getting there. All right. Yeah, that's better. A little thicker there. I probably don't need to go into a bigger brush for this area, really, in the current circumstance, I don't reckon. Yeah, that'll probably be fine. One, and then this side. And then I shall wind the stream up. Now, we've gotten a good bit done today. I'm pretty happy with it, as far as outcomes go. We've certainly got our cockpit set up for whatever we want to do to it tomorrow, which will be various things, some of which I will do a bit of research on, as much as, or in as much as, what decals we can potentially put on, snaffle from the spare set on the P-51B. I wonder what ones. Yeah, there'll be a whole stack of snafflage we're going to do if we can. So, you know, hey. One more. Delete. All right. Now. All right, we're doing quite well on this. So long as everything goes together smoothly, unlike the P-51B ended up doing to us. we're actually making good time on getting this all pretty much to the point it was at, or the P-51B was at, because we're putting a bit of focus on this, obviously. The other kits are sort of on hold to some small extent. And one last thing I should probably check. Yep. All right. There's an angle I hadn't done on this one. It's just along the edge here there. All right. Now make sure I've done the same thing there. I have. Good. I'll clean my brush and then I'll give you a zoom in. And then I'll wind up the stream. I'm pretty happy with what we got done. That looks pretty clean to me. Yep, jolly good. Rinse. Wipe again. Now, goggles off. Splatch. Shut this, and then, so what I did there was nothing more than really, in fact you can see it with that much zoom in, I will need to put something behind it, of course. Those areas there. That's what color they should be. So boom. Now what we also did today, I might as well keep that there. On this side was our interior green on the cockpit. We're going to add a bit to that and put a few bits and bobs on that as well to make it look a bit nicer. This is the other side of the fuselage that we've going to do a bit of work on tomorrow. We got to start on our floor area in the cockpit. Now we've got that frame there done. Tomorrow we can put black around that and black into there. That will all come together. We also got those done. Aluminium still to be finished. And these. Boom. Alrighty. So we got a bit done today. I'm not unhappy with the progress we made. All right. Oh, hey, Brian. Didn't see you there. Hang on, I might zoom out a bit. That's better. Otherwise, you get a hell of a close-up of me. Hey, you been all right? It is progressing nicely, mate. Yes. Now, what I'm going to do tomorrow, we're putting chassis black on the interior of the cockpit. I hope you're well, by the way. Now, and what we'll also do, I think, is we're going to have a bit of a look at the assembly sheets of the P-51B and see which decals, because there was almost like two sets of decals they supplied with the P-51B. And we're going to see which ones we can potentially... glad you had a good time, Bassman. Be warned, if you provoke me, I am prone to singing. I'll have to see what else I can trot out from my Python catalog. Be warned, I can confirm it's fun to charter an accountant. And sail the wide accountancy. We'll leave that discussion there. Anyway, tomorrow I'll be back. Like I said, we'll be putting black on the interior. I want to get the zinc chromate into this wheel well, and there's a shitload to be done in that. That'll be the bulk of the stream tomorrow, I would anticipate. Like I said, I also want to see what decals we can potentially use to really improve what we have. So we shall, good people. And hopefully sometime in the next few days, you see this headset caper? I'm fixing that. Alrighty. Thanks for watching. I do appreciate it. First-time viewers, you know the drill. Follow, like, or subscribe. Other platforms. I'm Rob the Builder on Facebook and YouTube, and Robster the Builder on Instagram, Twitch, and Discord. Again, follow, like, or subscribe. I just hope I don't get done for breach of copyright. Although I do credit it. Up here for thinking, people. Okay. So yeah, I'll be back tomorrow. We'll do what I was talking about on the P-51D. And at the end of the day, I'll be back at a similar kit time and on the same kit channel. And hopefully I'll catch you good people then. See yous.